2024 check-in, is humanity forced to live in a series of triangles underground because of a cosmic plague? Or did the 1960 film Beyond the Time Barrier get it wrong? I love futurism, so I'm watching all the movies set in 2024 to see how close they are to what actually ended up happening.
2024, 64 years into the future for you, Major.
And today I'm watching Beyond the Time Barrier, starring Robert Clarke with an E at the end, who you might know from such highbrow filmmaking as The Astounding She-Monster, The Hideous Sun Demon, and the probably not problematic at all, Captain John Smith and Pocahontas. And this is one of those classic 60s low-budget sci-fi movies that was clearly made in a week on whatever sets they were allowed to run around on. Here's what happened. A fighter pilot is testing out an incredibly realistic looking plane that's going to fly super fast, but he accidentally goes too fast and pops out in the year 2024. And one of my favorite things in movies is scientific gobbledygook, so I'll just have them explain to you what happened, and notice the woman just casually doing beaker science in the background.
What phenomenon did bring me here?
It is what we know as a relativity paradox. It's another dimension. A fifth dimension.
Fifth dimension?
Professor Borman's principle of gravitation propulsion brought it about. By 1970, it became the standard system used to travel to the planets at the speed of light.
But there is a pitfall in the system. At speeds approaching that of light, it is possible to break the time lock. The barrier that holds all things in a normal time relationship to each other.
So he oopsie-doodled through the time lock, and now he's stuck in 2024, and 2024 does not rule. They had something called a cosmic plague that forced half of humanity to live underground and be sterile, and the other half to turn into mutants with the least plausible bald caps I've ever seen. Since nobody can reproduce in the future, the leader sees this virile time traveler and immediately gives him as a gift to his granddaughter, who can't talk but can read minds and can kiss. But then the rebel scientists want to help him escape back to his time, but also them to escape back to their time, so they start some miscellaneous havoc by letting the bald caps out. And then the time traveler flies back to 1960, only there's a twist. This process makes him old. It's like that beach that makes people old, but instead it's time traveling airplanes. And that's the whole movie. But how did they do it predicting what today would look like? First, I love this quote about what happened after we landed on the moon.
When man set foot on the moon, all nations started to work together to push on into space. By 1970, colonies had been established on both Mars and Venus.
Maybe that's a reasonable guess for back in 1960, that we would move on from the moon to Venus and the whole world would work together. But in the real 2024, we haven't even faked a Venus landing. There is a lot of mid-century furniture everywhere. That checks out, plus 10 points. These are the men's uniforms, and then these are the women's uniforms, which is a classic 60s futurism where they're like, look, in the future, we'll live on Venus and we'll speak telepathically, obviously, but women, they won't wear pants. That's crazy. Everybody lives in tunnels? That's plausible, especially if that one lady can get her permits done. We're all going to live under her house. But the main thing this movie predicted was that in 2024, we would all live in triangles. Triangles, triangles, triangles. Triangle mirror, triangle window, triangle door, triangle wipe to more triangles. You can even tell how impractical all of these triangles are, because at one point, an actor almost wrecks himself on a hanging triangle. In my 2024, pretty low on triangles, minus 1,000 points. Overall for futurism, I'm going to give this movie a 91. But on the chess grandmaster scale that goes to like 2,700. Overall, though, not a bad sit. It's a tight 75 minutes, and if you like cheap special effects, this movie has one of my favorites that I've ever seen, which is where to make the plane look like it's going up, they just tilted the footage so it seems as though the clouds are also ascending at a steep angle. Absolutely hilarious. Let me know what else you want me to watch, and I'll see you in the future.